BYU and Utah played a thriller. Texas Tech nearly lost to Colorado and West Virginia. NCAA tournament team. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. There is Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor, basketball aficionado. How about those New England Patriots last night, huh?
Oh, who could forget? What a game.
That was really something. If you hit subscribe, we both get to keep our jobs. We will start in Big 12 hoops. This weekend felt right. We're finally to that point of the season where you're watching nonstop Big 12 basketball action on a Saturday, including the Holy War, BYU and Utah, in a game that was far closer than I think a lot of people, Vegas included, expected. Then DJ Lagway committed to Baylor, but won't sign the dotted line. Question mark. And finally, a Super League is on the way. That is the rumor, at least now that Michigan has hired its new president who wants to broker one between the Big 10 and the SEC and throw the Big 12 to the wayside. Again, if you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs. Let's start there. BYU and Utah last night, 89-84. Tight game at the very end. Utah had an opportunity to win this game, scored 84 points against the mighty BYU Cougars. This was one of my favorite games that I saw Saturday.
It finally looked like BYU maybe not going to win the national championship.
Uh-oh. Are they human?
But still pretty good. I mean, there's so many impressive teams at the top of this conference, especially, and to think that, like, I've watched BYU a couple of times now, and to think, like, that's the third or fourth best team in the Big 12 is crazy, right? By rankings, I think they're third, right? Anyway, like I'm talking national rankings.
Yes.
But Utah, man, showing a bit of a pulse. Like, could Utah be like, this is where we're at? It's like a Bill Simmons thing. Like, is Utah not going to be a bottom 4 team in the Big 12 this year? Like, is Kansas State worse?
They did lose.
Or be worse?
They still
lost. I know, but they looked pretty good. They scored 84. I didn't think they could score 84 ever.
Yeah, it's
Are you with me here?
The good piece for BYU.
Are they on the do not watch league pass list?
No.
Priscilla, please.
Impressed, yes. Do I still think that Utah's a bottom 4 team in the Big 12? Also, yes. AJ DeBonsa, 20 points. Richie Saunders, 24 points. Rob Wright III, you know that name, 23 points. Each of those guys scoring 20 is a recipe for success for BYU, even though Utah played well, namely offensively, 46% as a team last night, which is pretty good. If a couple more of their threes, they were 27% from deep, then they've got a shot to win. They fall 89-84. We'll highlight this one because I know you watched it in full. Baylor and Houston in Waco. Home game for the Bears. Final score 77-55. Houston wins it in the WAC. We talking about a Scott Drew who's lost his fastball?
I mean, good way to kind of ask that question.
Thank you.
Because,
I get paid to do this. That's my job.
Because is Baylor a good team? No.
Ooh.
Scott Drew loses fastball. That is an end of the season question for me.
Okay.
Because, like, if he can make something out of this, if he can make the NCAA tournament out of this, it doesn't mean you're, like, in a great spot as a Baylor basketball program, but I think it would mean that he hasn't lost his fastball. Like let's use it as a legit baseball example. That would be like, Justin Verlander 4 years ago, if he went, 16-12 and the Astros missed the playoffs, or 14-12 and he was still throwing a good fastball. You'd be like, well, things aren't good, but his fastball still looks pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Scott Drew had to replace the entire roster, and it absolutely looks like it. And like, people were wondering why they would do something so unethical as if to bring in a professional basketball player. It's like, they're desperate, bro. Of course. Like, I had people commenting like, oh, this reeks of desperation. Of course they are. Like they didn't return anybody. No one was in the gym with them except for one guy who practiced for half the season, who just so happens to be their best player right now in Cam Carr. This is not a very good team. If they make the tournament, though, I'm saying Scott Drew still has his fastball. It's not something we could do every year. We can't just be that team that loses everybody and then Scott Drew does just a good enough job to get in the NCAA tournament. But I don't think the fastball is quite gone yet. I think it's still in the 90s, man. I think it's still 94.
With 13:45 left to play in the second half, Kansas led West Virginia 59-51, 83% chance of victory for the Jayhawks. Final score, West Virginia 86, Kansas 75. They didn't just beat Kansas. They beat the Jayhawks by double digits. Yeah. A game that looked like they were going to lose. I am officially, I think Kansas is going to drop out of the top 25. I am by West Virginia as an NCAA tournament team. Sell Kansas until they figure out whatever is going on and get Flory Badunga ready to go and don't just rely on Darren Peterson.
Dude, so Kansas is fascinating. First off, I appreciate that you didn't make me do any real commentary on that Baylor-Houston game and just talk about the throttling that happened in Waco and just the humongous gap between those two programs in the last 2-3 years. But anyway, Kansas is fascinating, man. What is Kansas? What is this Kansas team? What is Darren Peterson, man? When he plays, one of the most exciting players in the country. But then you got, the game the other night against TCU where he's trying to take himself out as the ball's whizzing by his head and going out of bounds, and he's shooting free throws. And when Peterson's going, they're going. Like Flory Badunga last year, man, there were message board geniuses last year talking about calling for Bill Self's job because he didn't know how to use Flory Badunga, and they were sick of the 30-year-old Dickinson. They were sick of him and they wanted Flory Badunga playing, and that's hot and cold every night, man. Like they're not a nailed on. This is not your slightly older brother's Kansas. And what's frightening is we said that last year, and we said that the year before. Like, you want to talk about someone losing their fastball, maybe it's Bill Self too. Maybe Scott Drew is, but maybe Bill Self is too. Maybe they have found their bogey team. West Virginia makes the tournament if they play Kansas every game. I'll tell you that much. Third straight win over the Jayhawks, man. With two different coaches. Like, Kansas just cannot play them. Even when they're winning at the end of a game, they can't play them. How about those nears?
Arizona.
Near, far, wherever you are.
I think it's ears, but whatever. Arizona drubbing TCU in Fort Worth. Iowa State playing a closer game than I expected.
Fort Worth, tough place to play. Just got to have that out there.
Yes, it is.
Tough place to play.
The idea at Texas Tech, so as I watched the games, and Arizona State and Kansas State was also a classic of a game. I think both those teams will ultimately miss the NCAA tournament as of today, but a very good game at 87-84 and fun to watch. The difference in this Big 12 and your slightly older brother's Big 12, 3 years ago, road teams weren't winning like this. Road teams weren't walking into a Waco. They weren't walking into Fort Worth and winning by double digits. And the idea that even BYU, Texas Tech, very good teams that walked in and got road wins this weekend, that idea is foreign to me. When half your games, the road team's winning in the Big 12, it used to be, hey, you'll win your home games, you'll win 2 or 3 road games, and that is the mark of a really good Big 12, elite Big 12 team. Now the brass of the Big 12 has established itself as we're really good no matter where we play. And I'm looking at Arizona, BYU, Houston, who are in that category based on this weekend.
Yeah. Like that, I think Houston, that's 17 straight Big 12 road wins after that demolition.
How did we let this happen?
That's nuts.
Who let them in? Who let them in?
I mean, how did we let Parker Ainsworth get this strong? How did we let that happen? But seriously, it's like that never happened. And even as recently as 2 or 3 years ago, us mainly following Baylor at the time, we were skeptical of some of these decent Baylor teams, but people would say, oh, well, you're not expected to win on the road. Like you just said, as long as you win your home games, you're a good team in the Big 12. And Fran Fraschilla was telling that to us all the time. Even Tech is so much better than Colorado. And they have to kind of hold off CU at the buzzer in Lubbock. You know what I mean? Like that's it's an interesting league now. It is an interesting league at this point when that happens.
I like the idea that we have elite teams and not just the parody of, anybody can beat anybody. Because truly, not anybody can beat anybody. If there's an analyst telling you, Big 12 basketball, no, that's just a lazy take.
It's not that way anymore. Maybe it's more like SEC football, though.
Yeah, except for ESPN now has the entire SEC as the best strength of schedule in basketball.
Yeah, they love them in basketball.
Because that's what they do. That's what ESPN does. That's what they're paying for. Coming up, DJ Lagway. Here is the transfer portal story that you haven't heard that is as weird as it gets. Not quite as weird as Damon Williams, who did that thing during that girl's funeral. DJ Lagway is a little bit better than that, but this one's crazy. Locked on Big 12, locked on Baylor. Here's the inside scoop. First, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I go during the NBA season to make money. I don't love the NBA. But I do love making money at FanDuel. And I put money on the NFL live. I bet the Bears live to win the game. Guess what they did? They won the game. College football playoff is here. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to win. Right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it. You ride with the favorite team that you think will control the matchup. When they do, you win even bigger and you're paid out instantly. FanDuel is the best place to get in on the action all season long. FanDuel.com. Get your college football playoff profit boosts every game at FanDuel.com. Cameron Stewart, locked on Baylor. This is one of the weirdest transfer portal stories to come out of the last few weeks. DJ Lagway commits to Baylor. Everybody remembers, 5-star quarterback, best quarterback in the country, going to the SEC, going to Florida. Big win for the SEC. That guy now plays in the Big 12. Or does he? Because within 24 hours of his commitment, I think it's Pete Thamel released, hey, by the way, Lagway hasn't signed anything. And there is interest from multiple, now that Trinidad Chambliss can't go to Ole Miss, interest from SEC teams to bring Lagway in. And at the time of us recording this, DJ Lagway still hasn't signed anything. Why will the kid not sign the dotted line?
Well, the thing that I'm trying to really figure out, the question within the question, with DJ Lagway visiting Ole Miss 2 days after committing to Baylor, is who is doing the power play? Is it or should I say, is the power play DJ Lagway committing to Baylor? Yeah. Or is the power play DJ Lagway going on another visit? Because the power play is for the agent, right? Like, why are you even committing to Baylor in the first place if you're going to continue with your visits? Yeah. Or why are you visiting Ole Miss if you're really committed to Baylor? Like, I'm not getting it. I know it's a weird new college football now. Like, I get it. I know it's all about the money. We all know that. But, like, why even commit then? Is it to force Ole Miss's hand, make you double the price? Or like, is Baylor trying to get him to commit so they say that, hey, we had him committed and now anything that happens after that is out of our hands and make DJ the bad guy, not us? Like, I don't know, but it comes back to something we talk about a lot, Drake. It's all fugazi.
Oh, it's fake.
I'm going over this news on Friday night that DJ is going to go on extra visits, and my lovely fiance, who does not watch college football, was like, I thought he committed. Wait, is that real? Can you do that? And my answer was, none of this is real. None of it's real. Commitments, transfer portal, NIL, the money, the visits, like none of it is real. Are
you engaged, by the way?
I am engaged. That's why I called her a fiance. But like none of it's real.
Come on.
Until they're on the field, none of it is real. And even then, like,
when's your wedding date? Is the date planned?
I'm not going to say it, of course. Is
it real?
Is it real? Who knows, man?
None of it's real. None of it's real.
Who knows? Until we're down the aisle with the rings on, none of it's real.
She could walk.
Much like this right now. And so she didn't, I said this on the emergency show the other day, but she didn't love it when we were at this wedding after the DJ Lagway news of him going to visit Ole Miss, when I said, hey, babe, committed to you, but there's some single ladies here tonight. I might want to go take a visit. Might want to go check it out. Might want to go see what I'm committed to you, but might want to see what they have to offer. That's what the situation is right now. Deuce Knight's committed to Ole Miss, so that makes me feel good, but there's nothing until you sign. There's nothing. And like, what are we doing otherwise?
I think people often forget that we're all on a floating rock that is slowly being pulled into the sun. And the day will come, maybe sooner than you expect, where that floating rock that we are on is engulfed within another floating rock. Not really a rock, it's gaseous. And the horror and misery and pain and suffering will end for us all. There will come a payday. Hallelujah. What a payday. And maybe that's part of being what a Baylor fan is like in 2026 now. And it would be super Baylor if Lagway said, hey, Ole Miss wants to start me right away. I have to take this. And surely, I think the Bears could make a competitive NIL offer. They would put up enough money to get a Lagway because they're putting most of their money in the Lagway basket. Right. They don't have a lot of guys coming back that they could give money to. And this is a more important piece of the conversation that is more holistic to the Big 12 too. It's indicative of where we are in college football that Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Baylor, they're all rebuilding their rosters. They lost all their starters. Now, Oklahoma State and Baylor sucked. So losing your starters might not be the worst thing in the world. A hard reset could help here. When Curt Cignetti took over Indiana, which I'm not going to compare Dave Aranda to Curt Cignetti yet.
But if we had to. Different segment.
But there is a world in which the overhaul and the flipping, the attrition, positive attrition works well for Baylor, works well for Oklahoma State. I think it will work well for Oklahoma State for sure. Maybe Iowa State. I'm not to say, but that's the positive look at it. Cam, there's a really big dour side of this where the Baylors and Iowa States of the world just really suck again next year because of what's happening in the transfer portal. The Bears are down to what? 0 starters? 1 starter returning next year?
Oh, geez. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm saying just because who knows by the time this comes out tomorrow.
Right.
In a couple of hours, it's probably going to change.
And I think if you lose Lagway, it's another feather in the hat of Dave Aranda should be fired. And I'm hopeful that you don't lose Lagway because there are reputable reporters like David Smoke saying, hey, he still plans to go to Baylor. His family is committed to this. He's committed to this. He just won't sign the dotted line for some reason. And that gives me reason to worry that he won't ultimately sign with the Bears. But this is an overarching theme of college football. It's a big theme in college football that everything sucks and you can't really trust anybody. And I'm not having a very good time.
Yep. Like you can't, and what that trickle down effect is as a fan or people like us who are fans with microphones of you can't get excited about anything. Right? Like that should have been the best day of Baylor's offseason. DJ Lagway commits. I was treating it as such. I was like, heck yeah, man. A lot of holes to fix, but that is a major get after 5 and 7 to get one of the best portal quarterbacks on the market. Like that's huge for Baylor. And then the next day happens. And then you get all these people in the comments of oh, I guess it didn't really happen. Wrong again, all this. It's like, bro, we were all talking about it. Like it's like, your new goal line technology in soccer. You can't even celebrate a goal because everything gets reviewed. Or baseball, you can't celebrate a stolen base. It's going to get reviewed. It's like, man, can we just have something concrete here? Everywhere we turn with college football, it seems like everything we get worked up about, we're just looking for transparency, finality, so to speak. We're looking for adults in the room. Whether it's portal, whether it's NIL, whether it's who's going to the college football playoff, all we're looking for is adults in the room, and we still don't have it. And until we have it, it's just going to be more of this, more of premature celebrations.
If we're looking for transparency, I should probably start here. Now that you've given me this calling, and I feel guilty.
No. Oh no!
George Kittle got carted off the field 6 minutes ago.
First half exit though.
Oh wow, is that right? So your back could still
kills the odds, but we'll have that.
Cam told me pre-show he's got a touchdown prop parlay 5 to win 400. We'll see. Crazier things have happened.
Jalen Hurts tush push, 49ers DST. We're still cooking.
Let's see. Coming up.
Although, do I not get the profit boost because it's not a 3-leg? I don't know.
Probably not. They want their money. The Super League's on the way. Here it comes. Oh, yeah. Something about Maneater. Locked on Big 12. Oh, buddy, today's show is brought to you by Wayfair. Wayfair is exactly where I go after I buy a new home, which I have. I'm sitting in the office the other day with the Savannah Bananas, and our director of entertainment was like, "Yeah, I just moved into a place," and one of our employees was like, "Oh, new? Like what? As in new or used?" He's like, "Yeah, as in a new house. Like what? What? Why would it be a new house? That's no, it's a used house." I myself bought a used house in February, and with the new year being here, Wayfair is exactly how I'm still putting furniture in the new house, because you start to figure out, oh, that corner needs this, and oh, feng shui, that's a thing. Can't spell it, but it's a thing. I picked out new bedding, recent pillows from Wayfair, because the bedding just didn't fit the room, apparently, so I was told. I love that I can find pieces that match my style without spending a fortune. Get organized, refreshed, back on track this year with Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home with Wayfair. In the vein of what happened to the game that I love, I'll bring in Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor to talk about this. Super League may be coming in college football. Now, we mentioned this. Now, TV contracts 2030, 2031 are going to throw a lot for a loop in how Texas Tech stacks up in the Big 12 versus a team they could possibly benefit the SEC or the Big 10 or Utah. Could they go to the Big 10? Is BYU investing enough to flip to a different conference? That conversation just got elevated from William Dipe. Ken Syverud. Yeah, you would know. Chancellor of Syracuse University will be the next president at Michigan, replacing the interim president. And Ross Dellinger says a big presidential move here. Kent Syverud, thank you, going from Syracuse to Michigan, has been one of the loudest and most public proponents of the private equity-backed Super League proposals in college athletics. You just promoted the Sith Lord, the president of one of your strongest universities.
Yeah.
With Big 12, notable Big 12 hater Kyle Whittingham as the head coach there. If there is ever a time to go red button pressing over the state of college football and whether the Big 12 will exist in 5 years, this could be a time to at least open the casing on the red button and begin to think about it.
Big time. I mean, you say one of the big powers. You could argue Michigan is the most powerful athletic program in the NCAA. Like, we know exactly what they did during 2023. And their coach still coached them in the national championship, and they won. You know, like we know all that. All the things behind closed doors with Bo Schembechler, yet you don't hear much about that. You know, Michigan has a power unlike probably any other school in the country when it comes to college football. And this, I don't know if this was the exact move they were looking for. Maybe it was the illustrious era of Syverud at Syracuse, you know, with all the success we've seen from them. Boy, that basketball program's still humming, right? They're still humming right along. They're still a national power like when I was growing up, I'm sure.
Club baseball. Yeah.
Yet produce more baseball announcers than anybody in the country. It's crazy how that works. Just saying. But Syverud was like big in this private equity thing, man. He was part of the original think tank of private equity. And that's what's going to get this Super League going. You know, those two are hand in hand. You don't have one without the other. And it would just be, the magnum opus of the things we don't like about college sports right now. Like, bringing private equity in here, which of course the Big 12 has done a bit of and Utah's doing. And like, I'm just sitting there thinking, oh yeah, like the last time that worked when, private hands were kind of all over the NCAA, AKA the transfer portal to a certain extent, but really NIL. Like that's working out really well. That's evening the playing field. That's got everyone on the same page in college football. So naturally what we need is more private funding. We need more private people with their hands all over college football. That is exactly what we need. And yeah, man, it is coming for the Big 12 in a bad way. It's coming for most of the ACC in a bad way. I don't know if it'll come for the bottom half of the SEC or the Big 10, which are worse, arguably, most years than the bottom half of a conference like the Big 12. Yep. But here we are, getting more real.
And this, I told you guys, the listeners and girls,
the ladies.
9.3% of my listener base is female. Mm-hmm. Get your numbers up. I told you a few weeks ago in the Kyle Whittingham conversation, 10 days before he was hired, that Whittingham to Michigan's a real thing. That just have it on your radar. Don't press the red button, but pick up the glass and get familiar with the red button.
I'd like to push back a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I have a smaller female audience, but you don't know them, okay? They've all got advanced degrees, bombshells, well-spoken. I'm just saying, quality, quantity, however you want to take
They're devoted to you. They're daily listeners.
They're big. They're big.
They're big.
Like, they're big in that audience, man.
Uh-huh. So this is the same thing as the Whittingham situation 10 days before where I say, hey,
that's what we were doing. Yeah.
Don't, buy this now entirely, but understand what is happening. Understand what you need to know to be the wisest person at the water cooler. That when you or your friends say, hey, how about that new Michigan president that was hired? You say, bad. The SIFT is worst guy has terrible take. And it's this guy who wants to destroy college football based on private equity. This is all about how do we make more money? How can we build this into this $1 billion industry, into a $1 trillion industry, and put even more resources into it to pump those resources back out and benefit off the backs of college kids, these college players, and we'll pay them in the process. We don't care where they play or what they do. We're just going to make sure that we, all the adults, win. The adults win because the money's there and we love the money. That's what this is. That's what this move is. It's what Michigan's doing. It's what he wants to do.
It's exactly it. Like, these are investors that see that here is a product, college football specifically, that cannot stop making money. Just can't stop making money. And it's never really been well run. Like, that's what they see. They're looking at an investment opportunity with a business that they think they can run better than how they're being run right now, which, who knows, could be true. That just makes money hand over fist no matter what you do, man. As long as you're putting them out on the field in these 90,000 seat stadiums on Saturdays, it's going to continue to make money no matter how bad the games are, no matter if you get the right teams in the college football playoff, no matter what it is. It's going to continue to make money. These people think they can run it better. And that's on the NCAA because, they might be right to a certain degree. It's not going to be the sport that we love, but it's going to be a more streamlined moneymaker, which is all they really care about. It's going to suck for pretty much all of us in the Big 12. Pretty much all of us. Maybe one or two of you sneak in.
And this is a compliment to Texas Tech and to Utah and to BYU and to maybe TCU. There are brands in the Big 12, Arizona. There are brands in the Big 12 that will make a case for this. That will say, hey, pick me up, SEC. Let's go do this, Big 10.
Come get me.
And there will be an opportunity. The door will be open for a couple of these Big 12 schools to make that jump. I do believe that because we have built some stable and steady elite programs at the very top. Houston, maybe because of basketball, they'll be valuable. Like, imagine Houston in the Big 10. They play kind of that rock fight style of offense and football, or just of football in general. Basketball, as elite as it is, they bring a lot of, and they have the market. They bring a lot to desire. There are reasons Big 12 schools would be valuable. I just miss the day where it was less about how much money can we make and more about let's have Texas play Texas Tech every year. Why? Because obviously we would have Texas play Texas Tech every year in the same conference. It just makes the most. Let's have Missouri play Colorado. You're like, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not that regional, but also it just makes sense. It fits. It's right. It's what's. Hey, Nebraska's playing Texas in a conference game. Awesome. Dudes rock. This is
Oklahoma State.
Oh my gosh.
You're kidding.
No, can't do that. Can't have those two play. That would ruin the sport if we had those two play. No more Red River. It's the fact that it's gone. Everything we loved is gone. It's that floating rock, man. Headed toward the floating ball of gas. We are right on top of it. Thankfully, that's not going to happen for a few billion millennia or whatever it's supposed to be. That's Cameron Stewart at Real Cam Stewart. Also, sometimes on the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One. Won't tell you who he is.
Don't know.
Tell you who he is, but every now and then he's on there. This has been It Always Will Be. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. Crossover, locked on. Baylor and Dose Grande.